Hi, my name is Andrea and I'm a naturalist and educator at Severson Dells Nature Center. Today I'm coming to you from my home to teach you how to make a beautiful coffee filter paper snowflake just like this. I love this fun, colorful take on a traditional winter craft and hope to teach you how to make a beautiful one just like this and also teach you some snowflake science along the way. I hope that you'll enjoy this and feel inspired to go out and make one of your own. The supplies for this craft are pretty simple, and I'm sure you have a lot of this stuff at home. Of course, you'll need a coffee filter, but if you're not a coffee drinker, you can certainly suffice with regular paper, or if you're an artsy kind of person, any kind of craft paper you have can work too. Regular paper won't absorb watercolor and food coloring as well, but it'll still result in something beautiful. You'll also need scissors to cut your paper snowflakes, and of course, if you are a child, be sure to do this with adult permission or supervision. Then you'll need something to color your snowflakes. I use watercolors for some of mine, and these are just cheap watercolors from a craft store. Or food coloring also works, and I find that it gave a lot more color than the watercolor. For example, I did this with food coloring, and it turned out really vibrant. And this was done with watercolors and was a little bit more muted. So it's totally up to you. Some additional things you might want to use are paintbrushes. These are anything fancy. Make sure you have some water to dip them in. And I also brought out a heavy book to press my snowflakes flat. And what a better book, a biology textbook? And because our coffee filters are going to get wet when we paint them or color them, I just have a paper plate to work with so I don't get my table messy. You're welcome to use newspapers or something like that as well. And with that, that's all you'll need. So there's a couple of different ways you could go about starting your paper snowflake. You could either start with cutting a white coffee filter and getting that ready to go and then painting it, or you can start with coloring it first and then cutting it. The pro of coloring it first is it's really easy to paint this whole coffee filter. It would be a little harder to paint this without ripping something. But the con of painting first is you have to wait and let it dry before you cut. So it can go either way. I prefer coloring it first, so that's what we're going to do for this video. So you can either start with a dry coffee filter like this, or a wet one. One of the pros of starting with the wet one is that the colors blend easier, but of course if you start with a dry one, it'll be a little more controlled. So for this one, I'm going to show how to color it with food coloring. I'm using a couple drops of food coloring here, but do you know that each snowflake contains 100,000 or more droplets of water? That's incredible. And then you'll need to blend, which can be done as meticulously as you want or as loosely as you want. The adage that every snowflake is unique is completely true. Every snowflake is formed in ever so slightly different conditions, whether it's humidity, temperature, or wind. I think I might add just a little bit more color to this in a couple spots, so that way it's really pigmented. Great, so this might look a little funky now, but I promise it's going to be beautiful. Now I'm going to show you how to color a coffee filter with watercolor. And the process is pretty simple. You'll need to grab a brush that's already wet, and I pre-wet this filter so my colors would blend easier. And you'll just dip into watercolors and apply them. Now it takes a lot of work to get these pigmented, so you might need to really work that pigment into your brush by swirling it a lot in your watercolor. That's much better. If you want to blend a color out, simply grab some water, pull it farther, and that'll help fade the colors. Now, snowflakes are notoriously hard to photograph. That's because they melt if you touch them and blow away if you breathe on them. The first person to ever take a photo of a snowflake was Wilson Bentley, a farmer, in 1885. He found a way to hook his camera up to a microscope, and he put a black piece of fabric behind it. He coaxed snowflakes onto this black piece of fabric with a turkey feather and took photos of them. He was so amazed with the diversity and the shapes and sizes of snowflakes that it became his life's work and passion. Now that you've colored your snowflake, you're going to need to cut it. And to do that, you'll need to fold it. First, we'll fold it in half. And then we'll fold it in thirds. The reason we're doing this is to achieve that 6-fold symmetry of a snowflake shape. This is because of the molecular nature of water that it naturally makes snowflakes in this 6-sided, 6-pointed way. If you want to learn more, be sure to check out the description below for some really cool videos on this topic. Now you need to cut. To achieve 3-fold symmetry in your design, cut it randomly. To achieve 6-fold symmetry, you can cut both sides symmetrically. If you want to be even more advanced, you can fold it in half one more time and then cut it however you want, and it'll turn out to be 6-fold symmetry. But I'm going to cut it this way, and I'm going to make both sides symmetrical so I can achieve that 6-sided symmetrical look. There are scientists out there who classify the shape of snowflakes. They're called crystallographers. Now, back in the 1930s, there were around 20 official recognized snowflake shapes. Now there's over 100. This research is being used to predict snowfall, avalanches, and so many other things. I love it! Now, if you want it flat for your wall or a window or fridge, simply put something heavy on top of it and let it sit for a while, and then it'll be ready for your wall. I'm going to show you a couple more different cuts for some inspiration, and then you're done. Snowflakes form when water vapor collects on a small dust particle in a cloud. It eventually collects more and more and more water vapor, and as each piece touches the original, it freezes. Now, a snowflake formed in a warm environment is going to be smaller and simpler. Usually, they're just hexagonal plates. The colder it is, the more intricate the snowflake's shape will be, and this is due in part to chemistry and physics. There's a lot of great science in the shape of snowflakes. I love watching snowflakes gently drift to the ground. Do you know that they fall at an average speed of 3 to 4 miles per hour? That's actually pretty fast considering how light they are. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make paper snowflakes, and I can't wait to see what you'll create. I hope this video inspired you to celebrate nature through art and also taught you a little bit about snowflakes and the science behind them.